The Savvy Corner is 3 years old this month. As I celebrate my 3 years in business anniversary, I want to share with you a few lessons that I learned on this journey and to give you an overview of what is in store for the future. Hello and welcome to the Savvy Corner. My name is Alisa and I help people manage their money, their business and their mind around it. Today I want to talk about my experience of managing my business and my mind around it. The things that I learned, sometimes the hard way, and where my business is headed after 3 years. Let's jump straight in. When I was preparing this video and I sat down to make a list of points I wanted to address, there was one that immediately came to mind. This is probably the biggest learning point for me in these 3 years, and it is that running a business is just as much about managing yourself as it is about managing the day-to-day operations. In the beginning, it's probably more important to know how to manage yourself, because managing the business is not that difficult. Technology and systems are amazing. You create a sequence, you test it and refine it until it works, and then you automate it or you follow those steps exactly, and in theory, it should work. In practice, though, it doesn't always work, and that has a lot to do with us as the business owners. In order to get out of my own way, I had to learn to manage my mind, to change my mindset from that of an employee to that of a business owner, to stop attaching meaning to everything that happened or didn't happen in my business. And this is something that I know as time passes and my business evolves, I'm going to have to constantly work on it, because there will be other thresholds that I will reach, and with them new mindset challenges will come that I'll have to deal with. In a way, it's liberating to know that I or my business are not and will never be the finished product. We are a work in progress and we will always be so. I'm reading the book Happy Pocket Full of Money again, and there was something that the author said that caught my attention. He said, the only constant in the universe is change. Everything is constantly evolving and changing, so you might as well accept that and embrace the moment you have now. And this is what I'm learning to do, to enjoy the journey and to enjoy my business as it is right now. This is easier said than done, because one of my personal and business values is growth. I used to think that if I'm not growing, I'm stagnating. In the last few months, probably since the pandemic started, I began to see things differently. Growth without a solid foundation is not sustainable. So when I'm not growing, I am learning and acquiring the knowledge, experience, and resources I need for my next level of growth. I shared this as one example of the mindset shifts I had to make, but there were many more like it. If you want to watch a video specifically on this topic, I filmed one a while ago on the difference in mindset between a business owner and an employee. I will link it for you below. Speaking of mindset shifts, another thing that I noticed is that my definition of work changed. Before I started the business, I saw my work as something that I had to do in order to justify my salary. I was also quite adamant that I didn't want to do anything outside of my job description unless I was being paid more or I really enjoyed that work. My mindset was this: I'm being paid to show up for 8 hours a day and deliver these outputs. Anything outside of that is not my responsibility. When you run a business, you can't think like that, because everything is your responsibility. Even if you pay people to help with certain things in your business, and let's say they don't deliver or they make a mistake, you as the business owner need to take responsibility for that in front of your clients, your collaborators, your audience, etc. As a business owner, anything you can think of and the things you cannot anticipate, they are all in your job description. So I quickly had to change my perspective here. And now I see my work as something that I choose to do in order to get my business to where I want it to go. Everything's a choice. I can choose not to do certain things, but with that choice, I accept the consequences. There is no employer who owes me anything. It's all on me. At the same time, I had to learn to distinguish between the work that matters and will give results and the work that perhaps I enjoy more, but which doesn't have a big impact on results. And the choice I mentioned earlier is important here. If I want results, I need to choose what I do and what I don't do with those results in mind, not according to my preference necessarily. Here's another lesson I learned in relation to this. Refining and perfecting something beyond a certain point equals inefficiency and is bad time management. When I was an employee, I would refine my reports and add bells and whistles to them and even create reports for myself just for fun or sometimes to check small things. I was a geek, I know, I still am. But when I think about that now, what comes to mind is, what was I thinking? I could have used that time so much more efficiently. The reality is, I couldn't have used that time more efficiently as an employee because that was my responsibility and I didn't have anything else to do outside of it. That is where my job description ended. But as a business owner, I can absolutely use that time more efficiently. And it took me a while to get here, but now I am okay to move on to something else even if the thing I was working on is not 100% perfect. I'm talking about the format, aligning the fonts, adding graphs and little touches that don't make a huge difference. As a business owner, it is my responsibility to look at my work with a strategic eye and to know when to stop and what is good enough. And if you know me personally, you know how hard this must have been for me. Speaking of responsibility, one of the big lessons was that my success is my responsibility. I already lived by this before I started the business, but there were fewer variables then. My professional success depended on me doing a good job at work and performing well in interviews when I wanted to change jobs. And that was easy. As a business owner, there are more variables. It's not just me and what I do, but also how others perceive it and what their circumstances are. I can be a great professional, which I am, doing all the right things and still get rejected or even lose clients. And this happened several times, both before and during the pandemic. People's circumstances change and you can't force them to continue to work with you if they can't afford it anymore or they are nervous about their finances. However, that doesn't mean that I am entitled to blame others for what is happening in my business. Even if those excuses are valid, they're not helpful because they give your power and your responsibility away to someone else and you risk falling into victim mode. The moment you start feeling sorry for yourself, that you're putting in so much work and you are not getting the results you want because of somebody else or something external to you, you give away your power to do something about it. Because you see yourself as a victim of circumstance and of other people's decisions. And that is the moment you give up. Perhaps you're not aware that this is what you're doing, but essentially by thinking like that, you are giving up. What will happen to your business if you as the owner give up? By taking responsibility for everything that happens in your business, you keep your power to do something about it. You lost a client, go get another one. Someone said no to you, find out why and do a better job next time. Your sales tactics are not working, analyze the patterns, change your approach, test it, get feedback and adapt until it works. Nobody will come to the rescue. You have to save yourself. It is your responsibility as the business owner to keep your business running. It's not your client's responsibility, even if they signed a contract or agreed to work with you. And the sooner you adopt this mindset, the sooner you will recover from rejection and hiccups and move on. Before we move on to the next learning point, I have a question. Are you enjoying the video so far? If you're still here, I imagine the answer is yes. And you probably know what I will say next. Please give this video a big thumbs up and consider subscribing. It really helps to support the channel and I thank you in advance if you do. The lesson I'm about to mention was something I refused to accept for quite a while. And that is that my goals and desires have evolved and that the business should evolve too. After about a year of running my business, I started to work with clients, mostly coaches and consultants, who wanted help with starting a business that is financially viable and sustainable. 6 months into doing it, I realized how much I enjoy this work and I started to wonder if I enjoy it more than coaching on personal finances. The answer was yes. I did enjoy it more. It was more of a challenge for me, it was more creative, and I felt I could make a bigger impact by helping clients both with their business and personal finances. However, I fought against it for a very long time. I didn't want to accept that there was something I enjoyed more than the concept I had for my business when I started it. I also did not want to pivot so soon into starting my business. I had a 5-year plan that I needed to follow. All sorts of excuses. So I did this work behind the curtains, via word of mouth and without advertising it. However, I couldn't keep it a complete secret because my content started to reflect this work that I enjoyed so much. If you look at my YouTube videos, the first ones were strictly about personal finances, and then gradually I started to talk about money in a business context, or to simply talk about business in general and my experience of running my own. This month, on my 3-year business anniversary, I sat down with myself and had some difficult conversations about what I want to do for the future, what my personal plans are, and how the business can support them. I will share these plans and where the Savvy Corner is headed later in the video, but in terms of the lesson here, I want to encourage you to listen to your intuition. Especially if you are a planner like I am, it might be difficult to move away from the plan and go in a different direction. But sometimes that's something you need to do because you simply don't have the same desires and the same needs you had 1, 2, 3 years ago or more. As I said earlier in the video, the only constant in the universe is change. We change, our circumstances change, our desires evolve, and it's okay for the business to change accordingly. Which takes me to my next point. Running a business is forever a learning curve. So get comfortable with the idea that you will never know everything and that you are a lifelong learner. Accepting this gives you permission to experiment, to try new things, to change your mind, to say, I don't know, to accept your own limitations and to do something about them and not place unrealistic expectations on yourself. It gives you permission to make mistakes. And you will make mistakes. But you know what the good thing is? And this is my next lesson. Nobody cares. Apart from a handful of people, your family and loved ones, nobody else cares about or even notices the things you do in your business because they are also focused on themselves. And I don't mean this in a selfish way, but whatever you think others are doing to scrutinize your business, they are not. They're busy scrutinizing their own lives and businesses. So if you make a mistake in your content, or you miss an upload day, or you launch a program and it's a flop, nobody will notice. And even if they do, they won't make such a big fuss out of it. The only one making a big deal out of it is you. Nobody is watching you, so you can relax a bit and, dare I say it, have fun with it. Which brings me to the next lesson. It's okay to have fun in your business. The first couple of years, I thought that business is not supposed to be fun. We even have expressions in our day-to-day lives that support this. Have you ever heard the expression he or she means business, i.e. they are serious? That was my view on having a business too, being serious. But in the last few months, maybe even a year, I began to reconsider this assumption, and I came to the conclusion that the two are not mutually exclusive. You can have fun and enjoy your day-to-day activities while still running a serious business. In fact, I believe that enjoying not only what you do as a business owner, but what the business allows you to do when you're not working is essential for running a successful business. So instead of hiding it, I started to share it more with my audience, and you guys have been very receptive. This is a part of me that I didn't think my audience was interested in, but I was wrong. You want to meet Alisa, the coach, the finance professional, the face of the Savvy Corner, but every once in a while you want to meet Alisa, who loves to travel, who plays board games, who goes on motorbike trips, who speaks multiple languages and remembers the lyrics of every single song she hears, whether it's a good one or not. This is me, the entire me. And part of me is serious and hardworking and dedicated to my business and my clients. But the other part wants to enjoy and to have fun and to love everything that I do. This is why I started the business, because I wanted to love every aspect of my life and work. Okay, I can already tell this is going to be a video longer than my usual ones. These were the learning points I wanted to share with you. Now I want to give you an overview of where the Savvy Corner is headed and what the future holds. As I mentioned earlier in the video, a big part of my work now is working with coaches, content creators, and other similar service-based entrepreneurs to help them build an online business. This work is going to continue in the future, and I will also continue to coach on finances. However, I want to add something else to the mix. My direct work with clients so far has been structured mostly as one-to-one coaching packages complemented by consulting work and mentoring. These offers are priced to reflect my direct involvement and my time commitments to deliver, which means that not everyone can afford them. One of the reasons I started the Savvy Corner was to make a significant impact, and in order to do that, I want to expand my offering so I can help more people. And in that sense, I took a few steps. One of them was to partner with professional coaching providers to deliver programs to their newly qualified coaches who wanted to know how to build a coaching business that is financially viable and sustainable. Unfortunately, I cannot give you any more details on these projects because they are in the process of being finalized, and I can't talk about them by name or offer more specifics yet. However, I'm very positive about these collaborations, and I'm looking forward to the point when I can tell you more about them. Another thing I have done is to expand my own offering. In addition to the one-to-one work I do with clients, I want to introduce online courses and programs which are either self-paced and entirely self-study or in a group setting with some involvement from me. These courses and programs will be mostly about business and how to be a successful entrepreneur. Of course, money and finances remain my passion, and I will continue to talk about this topic, but in a business context. Just to give you a few examples, I will cover selling, charging, pricing, money mindset, financial viability, business models, and other finance practicalities, to name a few. These courses and programs will be delivered via the Savvy Corner Academy, which is already built but is yet to be launched. When I do launch, it's very likely that I will put out a call for beta testers or people who want to be pioneers for a new program at a lower price. If you're interested in that, I suggest you join my newsletter because that will be the place where I will announce it first. I'll leave the link to it in the description box below. My work on personal finance coaching will continue to be in a one-to-one setting for now, but I will take on less clients so I can dedicate myself to other work as well. In a nutshell, this is where my business is going after 3 years. I'm very excited to have shared this with you now and to offer an explanation to those of you who have been with me from the beginning as to why my content has been so business oriented lately. These 3 past years have been amazing, scary, satisfying, tiring, exciting, challenging, and everything else in between, all at the same time. I'm looking forward to what the next few years will bring. If you are still here watching, you're an absolute star. Let me know in the comments what was your favorite business lesson from the ones I shared earlier. I hope you enjoyed today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!